Alright, I'm working on the 408 Windsor this morning. Just pulled it out of the car yesterday. Gonna check it over, check the main and rod bearings, timing chain, lifters, just really give it a good once over. I'm sure you're asking yourself the question why, and honestly and truly there's not any one particular reason why I pulled this engine out. Still running great, great oil pressure. No oil leaks, nothing crazy going on, but it's been a few years since I've had it out, and I just wanted to check it over. That might sound crazy to some people, but I've always done this with the multiple cars I race because I can't tell you how many times I've found little things wrong, and it doesn't take me that long or cost me very much to take this engine out, inspect it, put it back together if there's nothing wrong. But I found sometimes, well, a lot of times, little things, little indications of wear that I can correct now that could later become major issues. So I always kind of strongly suggest it, especially if it's something you're racing. Why not pull it out every couple of years and inspect it, even if you're not having any problems? I've seen others that don't, and they run the engine for 4 or 5 years, it blows up, and they say, hey, I got my money out of it. Okay, but in my mind, if you would have pulled it out and inspected it somewhere in between, you would have got 10 years out of it. So, two different ways of looking at it. I like to pull them apart and inspect them. Like I said, it's something that gives you a chance to look for little indications of wear. And like I said, I found different things at different points where I can correct it now, and then, once okay, 2 years of use, you've got, let's say, no wear on anything, everything looks great. Well, now next time you can go 3 years of use and then inspect it. I've kind of built myself up that way with different engines that I don't pull them out until every 3 or 4 years now, because I've had them out enough to know what wears and how many passes, things like that. But no, I'm going to pull this thing apart today and inspect it. Like I said, this is a 408 Windsor stock block. I think it's a 74 block if I remember correctly. AFR cylinder heads, small solid roller cam. It's about 12.5 to 1 compression on E85. Runs pretty good on E85. The only downside with this particular engine is cold start. The dynamic compression isn't, your static's 12.5 to 1, but my dynamic's much lower. So on a real cold day, 30 degrees out, doesn't like to start the easiest. I think if the compression was a little higher, that would probably fix my problem. But I think what I'm going to start to do is mix to come out to like an E70 or maybe even like an E60 instead of E85, and see how that does with cold starts. Really and truly, it doesn't need the E85. This engine could run on pump gas because the dynamic compression is so much lower than the static. But yeah, just some information there. This engine was dynoed about 4 or 5 years ago now. I'm going to be a couple horsepower off because I haven't looked at the dyno sheet in a while, but it was somewhere around like 635. It was 630 something at 65 or 6600, right in there. So pretty good engine here. It's been pretty reliable. I have had a few wear items in it that have given me some fits over the years, so that's why I'm gonna pull it apart and inspect it. But yeah, pretty basic combination. Like I said, it's nothing fancy, all off the shelf parts, makes really good power. I might, like I said, mess around with mixing the fuel, maybe make it a little bit more street friendly. At a couple different points I thought about putting a hydraulic roller cam in it, but I really haven't had any issue with this solid roller, so for now I'm going to keep rolling with that unless I have an issue. But pretty good engine here. Just going to get started on it and just wanted to make a quick video and talk about a few things. Thanks.